We're live. We are live. I see Father Ron is live too. Father Ron is live. He's reading some scripture. And we're going to go to the control room here. There we go. No, it's not my kids. There we go. Howdy, 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 guys. 1 second while I get this all fixed up and ready to rumble. All right. How is everybody? Trent Horn stuff was crazy. It was indeed crazy. Absolutely unhinged responses from these guys. But we're going to go over it because Cleve didn't go through the entire video, and I felt, hey, why not? Nikolai, and I'm a fat, angry what? America. So true. Whatever that means, brother. God bless you. I don't know if beer is fast friendly, but I was craving one last night. I needed a nice lemon. This is a Cass. It's kind of like a it's kind of generic, super generic beer, but Lord of mercy, is it good. This lemon tinge to it just got this nice little after flavor of lemon. It's great. I'm all out of it. So beer is okay, someone says, for Lent, so we'll go with that. All right. So, guys, we're doing good. We are doing fan-freaking-tastic. I am very happy with how everything has been going recently. Some interesting stuff in the timeline. So we're going to be doing all kinds of stuff today. I posted a couple videos, got a couple more on the works here. But people are acting unhinged on the internet, which is not, why should we be surprised? I don't know. Why are we ever surprised when people are acting completely unhinged? Now, the first thing that I wanted to react to is the absolute unhinged responses that co-prospector got on the timeline. So we're going to go ahead and share the screen here. Share screen. The entire thing. Yes, we want audio. There we go. Got it. And add to stage. All right, guys. There was a annoying catechumen. Yeah, I mean, these people are insufferable. All right, guys. So, Orthodox history. About a year ago, I called them out on this because it was almost a year ago. So, about a year ago, I called them out on this very post, saying, I don't think this is accurate. I think the methodology that you're trusting is not good. And he was like, he did a little bit of pushback, but he said he'd look into it. Now, he did. And he came out and he said this. We're going to see if I can increase this. Whoops, that is not what I wanted to do. We want to do this one. There we go. Hopefully you guys can see that a little bit better. It says people bringing this post up from time to time, and I just wanted to say very clearly. We'll do the full screen here. There we go. People bring this post up from mine from time to time, and I just want to say very clearly, I was wrong. Orthodoxy in America is not only growing right now, but I'm quite confident that that it was growing when I posted this a year ago. I was just wrong because I put too much trust in the raw data from these surveys without accounting for the sampling issues, which I now understand more fully. I'm sorry for unintentionally misleading people. You don't need to be sorry, brother. You don't have to be sorry. How are you guys doing? Elite, Art, Ace, all you guys. I think this is for due diligence. This is for people. So someone asks if he didn't want people to bring this stuff up, delete the post. I think he should, but the thing is, people already clip it. They already have it clipped out, and then if he deletes it, it's like, oh, he's trying to hide it. It's like, no, I'm just wrong. So I think it's actually better just to be forthright and just say, hey, I was wrong, right? And I think that's gonna pan out better, anyways. Wayward Ranger, how you doing, brother? All right. So, I responded saying most polling doesn't even divide non-Chalcedonians from Orthodox. Then add the embarrassing low raw numbers on overall surveys, and oftentimes not even factoring in jurisdiction and regional population decline, and anyone could make this mistake. Now, he basically says he was wrong, and he goes into it and kind of explains why. But co-prospector, can we get some L's in the chat? L's in the chat for co-prospector. Decided to post a thing from 2 years ago saying that they have shrinking demographics. Even if it's growing in the US, questionable. How is it questionable? I mean, our internal numbers and everybody's experience is that we're growing. It is certainly shrinking as a share of the world population. Now, here's the thing that is a foolish thing to say. When someone says something is shrinking as a percentage of the world population, that just means that the world is growing in population faster than you're growing. That's all that means. Furthermore, he says, and of Christianity as a whole. Yeah, there's more evangelical and Protestant sects. You know, Roman Catholicism is shrinking on the global stage, right? And he says it's doing so quickly. Again, this is population decline. Most of the traditionally Orthodox nations aren't above replacement rate yet, since the collapse of the Soviet Union, and all these other factors that he, of course, conveniently ignores. Co-prospector being the absolute slimy scumbag that he is. And then Orthodox history responds, yeah, the 20th century was absolutely brutal for Orthodoxy worldwide. The amount of persecution we experienced is incredible. The fact that there are, in raw numbers, more Orthodox in the world today than prior to World War I is amazing, even though, yes, our share of the global population has, in fact, gone down. In terms of America, Krendak's work has various issues that I don't really have time to get into here. But if you, as a very enthusiastic Roman Catholic, want to believe that Orthodoxy in America is shrinking, that's completely fine with me. Exactly. Let them underestimate us. Let them continue to pretend that the man behind the curtain isn't really there, right? Let them pretend all of that. Let them live in La La Land. They'll continue to watch their parishes slowly decline, and their pope continue to have these overt ecumenist efforts on the world stage, and we will continue to grow and do what we're doing. I don't know why these guys keep on bringing up numbers. Christianity's always been historically a vast minority, which is why it's outlasting the entire empires. It's always been fascinating. I know raw numbers is one of the dumbest ways to like argue for your side. Now, we love, glory to God, that we're growing, but even if orthodoxy was net neutral, that has no bearing on the truth of orthodoxy. He says, now this is just funny. He says, because Russia largely returned to orthodoxy. That is not the main driver. The main driver is the lack of significant missions in growing areas of the world. If Catholicism stayed in Europe, LA, and NA, it would be shrinking. Guess what, dude? We're growing in Africa and South America also. Southeast Asia has numerous missions opening up all the time. This guy is just talking out of his rear end. Thailand alone has 14 parishes under the Russian jurisdiction. Laos had the very first Orthodox church ever open. So did Myanmar. So Vietnam has 3 now. They're going on 4 soon. The Philippines has dozens of parishes now. Indonesia has at least 6 or 7 parishes, mostly in their major cities. We're seeing huge growth. Africa is seeing immense growth that you can't even fathom. Like Russia and Alexandria cannot keep up with the amount of new parishes. Well, actually, if you have a degree, if I had money, I'd volunteer in Cambodia for roll call. If you have money, by the way, you don't necessarily need to. Because if in Cambodia, you can just go teach English in the main city and then volunteer at the parish during your spare time. It's that simple. Go get a degree, go get a teaching license in Cambodia, start teaching at a local high school, and then on the weekends, help with the parish. It's that simple. Especially if you're a single guy, there's no reason not to. So anyways, you seem very, very happy to be Roman Catholic and to consider Orthodoxy to be insignificant and in decline. Why do you bother paying any attention to us at all then? A freaking man. And yes, somebody posted, ignore him. He's just mad his son converted to Orthodoxy. And his son did, and he's been coping ever since. Coping. In due time, by God's infinite compassion, you'll see the grace of God being poured out. I hope and pray you will do not harden your heart at such a marvel. These guys are just insufferable, guys. They're insufferable. So we're going to look at what some of these other posts are saying. My parish has tripled in size in the last 5 years. We've run out of space and parking, and the city is mad at us for the parking on the grass. So true. I've said many times, but here's my take. Get ready for a really bad take. There is no mass surge in American Orthodoxy. Anyone expecting massive boosts will be disappointed. We know that it's shrinking both in raw numbers and percentage-wise. That's just not true. We don't know this. This is just completely talking. He's pulling this out of his arse. He has a big fat thing stuck up his butt, and he's pulling it out. That's where he's getting this from. People get confused because the U.S. is a huge country, and the United States is less than 1% of the population. Almost everyone until recently in the urban metros of the Northeast and most of the West Coast of Florida and Chicago. The bigger migrant parishes are shrinking. No, they're not. Actually, the migrant parishes are steady. They're not shrinking, or they're not growing or shrinking. The only places that are shrinking is regions of the United States that are shrinking as a whole. So he just doesn't know what he's talking about. Outside the historic hotspots, many have converts. However, even the people greatly overestimate conversions because conversion is long and many leave before they convert within their first 3 to 5 years. We haven't seen that phenomenon. I've been Orthodox now for going on close to 8 years. If we were to see the surge and then decline, we would have already saw the decline. Because we've been seeing this surge for going on 6 to 7, almost 8 years now, ever since COVID. 2018 to about now is when we saw this surge in converts. It's around the time that I started exploring Orthodoxy. 2018 to now, roughly. Give or take a couple years. My parish catechism class has around 40 people right now, and this is after nearly 20 baptisms that recently happened. Anyone saying that Orthodoxy is shrinking is overdosing on copium. Well, that is exactly what Roman Catholicism is now. All they have is copium, guys. All they have is copium. It's absolutely insane. Anyways, he continues on and says, so a church might seem full, but not everyone there is fully converted or will stay very long term. Well, again, that's just no evidence of that at all. Again, becoming Orthodox is not easy. People that are dedicated to becoming a catechumen, inquiring is easy. You just go, you kind of attend every Sunday, you kind of get the feel for it. Catechism is not easy. By the time somebody's baptized, they're pretty damn committed. They're pretty damn committed. Okay? Congratulations on your sister. Everyone give W's in the chat for Art's sister. Glory to God. Trent is delusional. Glad I saw Timothy Gordon support Jay, though. Well, that's because Timothy Gordon actually has standards, and he is he's a upstanding man. Even though I disagree with him theologically, he really needs to study his theology more. I mean, he's this close. He's this close to understanding the errors of Rome started long before then. He's a Western chauvinist, so he's got to get over that chauvinism before he will convert, in my opinion. So there's a huge crisis with passing down the faith in the next generation. Cradles born in America, especially if the first generation don't retain the faith, which is many converts. Disregard as the parents follow the law. Okay, yeah, this is just a bunch of... Again, he's just pulling this right out of his rear end. Saw a priest estimate about 20,000 people will be received into the church on Lazarus Sunday in the United States. Glory to God, yes. And I would argue it's probably going to be even bigger, but we won't know probably for at least 6 to 7 months after. That's just the harsh reality. Can you do a deep dive into papal minimalist position? I mean, that's just Elijah Yassey. I mean, I can review Elijah Yassey's arguments. As long as there's not a video that's like 3 hours long. If he's expecting me to sit through a 3 hour long video and then break down his thing, that's like 6 hours worth of live streaming. I ain't gonna do that, right? But I will do that for some other stuff. Paul, PayPal minimalism is cope. I don't know. I don't think that's what you meant to say. Their own church disagrees with papal minimalism. That's what you're trying to say. Okay. That's what you're trying to say. Yeah, their own church doesn't even agree with papal minimalism. Then again, their church is entirely inconsistent. The one of the most inconsistent churches you can ever see. Imagine if 98% of the Orthodox online presence was Western Rite Orthodox. They drag on that endlessly in their anti-Orthodox apologetics. They'll find anything to attack us with, guys. He's a Western chauvinist. Western chauvinist. My parish is only 200 people. Lazarus Saturday, 20 are getting baptized, and there's 20 in our group. That's 20% of your parish, dude. Or 10% of your parish. That's freaking crazy. 10% growth. Any church would love to have 20% growth in a single Sunday. And I'm betting that's not the only group that's going to be accepted or baptized over the year. So I'm guessing you're seeing more than 10% growth. Guys, there would be if a evangelical church had a board meeting and they said, guys, we saw 10% growth this year, they would be cheering and saying, glory to God. That is immense growth. We're changing our community. The community loves us, blah, blah. They would be going off the rooftop saying we saw 10% growth. They would put out bulletins saying, praise God, we saved 10% more souls this year, right? Like they would be cheering on the rooftops. And if a Catholic parish saw 10% growth, the Catholic priest would be having news bulletins about it. You never see that happen. I wouldn't say he kind of aligns slightly with Nick Fuentes, but I would say he's actually much more nuanced and better about it. Western chauvinism is just wanting to live in the 50s. I would agree generally with that take, yes. Awesome. All right, guys, so we're going to continue on here. So that is that reaction. Let's see what the quote tweets have to say. Humble scholars, man, all the Latinizers are like two Latinizers are commenting. A humble scholar. I wouldn't call Orthodox history a scholar. He's just he's a person that does statistics. He's a statistics guy. I mean, sure, maybe you could call him a scholar, but this guy is one of those classic Latinizer dorks. Anyways, guys, let us move on to Trent Horn. So before we get into this, guys, Yeah, we're not going over to the Latinizers today. I have no interest in even giving them the time of day. They're boring. It's over. We got two things that we're going to do. Share the stream. I am willing to debate Roman Catholics right now. I'm in a Roman Catholic mood. I was kind of exhausted with them for a while there, guys. I'm going to be honest. I was kind of exhausted. Elijah Yassey, all their coping, them entering into my stream and harassing me for a month. I was like, you know what? I'm done with the Romans. But they decided to get sassy for Lent. They've been insufferable the last couple weeks. So, as a result, share the stream, like the stream, let them know, and let them know that I'm about to, let's see here. I'm about to allow them to come on and make their arguments. Make their arguments. Okay, there we go. So the live stream is pinned above. And by the way, you do not need to disagree to jump in. Feel free to jump in if you just want to chit chat, guys. Octavian, how are you doing? I love to see you guys coming in, chat. Everyone, thank you, thank you. Who runs the Orthodox history page? He's I don't remember, but he's actually a public figure. He's actually like well known. I think he works for one of the jurisdictions or a diocese or something like that. He's actually fairly well known. Happy conclusion of Ramadan for the Roman Catholics. So true. Those Muslim Catholics, gotta love them. You got that. Well, for in their case, you gotta love them. So just left Father Ron's live. Oh, God bless him. I saw Father Ron was live. I didn't think he was going to be on much longer, but great stuff to see him engaging in these things. Father Ron has been a blessing to the online apologetic space. Fantastic people. Matthew Nami, I used to go parish with him. Okay, great. Then that's good. We have someone who can vouch. All right, guys, let us get into Trent Horn and the absolute massive amounts of copium that he was involved in.
Applied to Andrew Wilson's criticisms of me that he made on the Patrick Bet David show. And the responses from him and some of the other people I criticized in that episode ranged from the unusual to the unhinged. So in today's episode, I'm going to go through those responses and restate why I consider this issue so important and not just something we can agree to disagree about. All right, so to give you a little context, Andrew Wilson said I and Lila Rose belong to a group he calls sewing circle Christians, who care more about appeasing liberals by criticizing Christians who swear, for example, instead of uniting with those Christians to combat degenerates.
But I never see him surrounded with a panel of like the worst degenerates on earth debating all of their worldviews simultaneously. But they have tons of criticisms for people who do.
But that's
well, one thing that needs to be said is Andrew is talking more generally. Yes, Trent has gone on to some of these podcasts. Yes, he has debated some of these things, and Trent was fine in debating that. That's fine. That's a valid criticism, is saying I have done it. But every chance Trent gets, he sides with the liberals, with the feminists, and with others to attack Andrew and those like him. Every chance he gets. So he's right to say that, to lump Trent in on that regard. I'm much louder than the video. Well, that's going to just be natural. I try not to speak during the video, so.
That's not my position. As I made clear in my response to Andrew, I'm all in favor of doing whatever it takes to combat error and evil, except for using sinful methods like verbally abusing people.
So here's the problem right again, and I'll try and keep my volume a little bit lower, guys. The problem right off the bat is who defines verbal abuse? What is verbal abuse? What is this amorphous kind of ethereal thing called verbal abuse? Is it me being strong in my convictions and just calling you out for being a slimy weasel? If I call you a slimy weasel, am I verbally abusing you? I guess so, but that doesn't really follow, right? So.
And to make sure I didn't misunderstand Andrew, I sent him the script for my episode ahead of time, and I incorporated almost all his replies into the final episode. So I was baffled when I saw him post on X afterwards that he considered my response fundamentally dishonest. However, Andrew's response
Well, that's because the rest of your video was foundationally dishonest, because you go on to critique things that Andrew, you don't represent Andrew very well in that video, to be clear. We went over this video before. I do want to say something right off the bat, guys. I was in the military, as many of you know. I was a United States Air Force. I'm a United States Air Force veteran, and the military uses cuss words like punctuation. So I have a bad habit with my tongue at times. I try to have been getting better over the years, but you should have met me a couple years ago before I was Orthodox. Man, I was cussing like a sailor. But that being said, what Trent here is doing is just he would basically anathematize anybody who grows up in circles where cussing is not considered a big problem. My father is one of the most moral men I know. My dad is an amazing man. He's very faithful to God. He's not Orthodox yet. Certainly hope he will become Orthodox, but he's not Orthodox yet. But he is a great man, and he's taught me to be a moral, upstanding, good person, and took me to church, made me love Jesus, made me love the Bible, all of these things. You want to know what my dad does? He cusses sometimes. My dad is even impatient and sometimes has a temper. Right? So spare me this, oh, if you use profanity, you can't be a, guess what? My dad's been one of the most effective people I know at least speaking Christ to people, even if it's not Orthodox. Give us a SC goal. Okay, sure. I didn't even set that up because I set it up from Streamlabs. Let me do that. Oh, there we go. We'll just do that. We'll just do that. Something. There we go. Start goal. There you guys go. There you guys go. There's a goal. Trent, just like me last time, I heard a guy talk smack to a woman. I didn't talk smack. He got smacked. I'm such a 5'6", 6'5" male feminist trad cath crusader. Yeah, I know. It's ridiculous. But yeah, I just find Trent's criticisms here to be so dishonest. One of the things that I think is very important, and I think this is something that is and I think this is something that we need to keep in mind, is that everybody reacts to things in very different ways. By the way, Quantum Cataphract, thank you for the $5. Appreciated, brother. God bless you. By the way, I got soundboard almost working. I was testing it out the other day, so I should have a soundboard soon. And I almost got emojis done. I've been working on that on the side. I've been a little busy the last couple days. Also, please, guys, this is so important. And actually, seriously, just post this wherever you can. Ask people for prayers. If they want to support me, my PayPal is in the description of any of my videos. This will go directly to my father-in-law. Today is the day we find out if my father-in-law's cancer treatments have been working. So please pray. Please pray for him, because the results come in today, and if they're shrinking, great. If not, he's going to have to quit his job so that he can do more intensive chemo. And if he has to take more intensive chemo, he's going to have to quit his job. He's not going to be able to work. And also, if it's growing, that's not a good sign, because it already spread from his lungs to his lymph nodes under his armpits. So it's already spread there. And so he's already, they were already kind of like worried about that, because when they caught it, they were like, oh, is a small little thing. And then when they did a full CT scan, they found out that it actually spread already to his lymph nodes. So, Snow Quilter, ivermectin, throw it at them. Seriously, the new studies that have come out showing that ivermectin is actually effective at reducing tumors and cancer is insane. And when it's especially effective when it's paired with radiation and chemo. especially effective. So I would do ivermectin. I would throw it at there. It does no harm. There's literally almost no side effects. Just get the right dosage. I've already recommended it to my father-in-law. I don't know if he's taking it yet, but he's Korean, so he's a little like suspicious of some of the things coming out of America. So my father-in-law, you can pray for Hee Chul. Hee Chul. It's a Korean name. Hee Chul. So but you could just pray for my father-in-law. God will know. God will know if you can't say the name. But yes, so we find out today if his cancer is reacting well, if it's going well. If it's not going well, he's going to be more intensive, and he's already it's already hitting him pretty hard. He's actually Hichol, yes, correct, exactly like that. And he's already you know, he's trying to farm. I've been going to the farm every weekend. I haven't even been able to go to church much this spring because I've been having to help him at the farm every weekend. So he's in his late 50s. He's like 56, 57. Thank you for praying, guys. Thank you for the 10 Rojun Ro. I really appreciate that. It is not easy. My wife is super stressed out. It's actually I'm less concerned for myself, and I'm more concerned for my wife. My wife, it's been devastating her. She's been very, very stressed. So thank you guys for that. We're going to get into the video now. Enough pity party stuff. Pray for my father-in-law. That's good enough. Share it around. That really helps.
Failed in comparison to others, especially Jay Dyer. In one part of my episode, I criticized Dyer for calling Talbert Swan Tilda Swinton. He wasn't being abusive, but it is annoying and silly for someone who wants to.
He's being funny. Do we have to take things seriously all the time, especially when Tilda Swinton is acting like a complete unhinged feminist dummy? Like somebody who doesn't even know the basics? I'm not calling somebody a bishop if they're not a bishop. Makes no sense. I'm even like, part of me even says don't even call clergy outside of the Orthodox Church father. Like that's how serious I am about it. I've been told, let off the gas on Roman Catholics a bit by other priests, but I still, in my instinct, says they're not legitimate priests. So, that's freaking hilarious.
To publicly defend the Christian faith on a large platform. But then Dyer said on X, Trent Horn virtue signals over me calling a fake black activist bishop a fake bishop. But I didn't say that. This is either a lie or an ignorant falsehood. So I told Jay, I accurately pointed out your embarrassing behavior, which in this case was calling Talbert Swan.
How is it embarrassing? Jay completely dunked on the dude. Like, it wasn't even close. Jay was like slam dunking this guy constantly. And then he pokes fun at him. Jay doesn't say he's partially a comedian. He writes, guys, I know this might offend Trent Horn. He writes for oh my gosh, how am I blanking on his name? Hello? He's the guy. Why? Something show. Oh my gosh. Guys, what's the comedian? The comedian that does the he's always accused of being the master. Sam Hyde. Thank you, Sam Hyde. Totally blanking on it. Thank you. Sam Hyde. He also helps with Alex Jones and stuff like that. I mean, he's not just a theologian, and he's allowed to make fun of people. It's like, seriously, get over yourself. Again, what was I talking about with the last guy with co-perspector? Take that giant stick up your rear end, Trent, and pull it out. I don't know if it was put up there by your wife because she's insufferable. But no offense, dude. I don't care if your wife has brain cancer. It doesn't excuse poor behavior towards others. Sorry. It's like, well, let's be understanding. I am understanding to a degree. I know what stress looks like. I can lash out at people. Still doesn't excuse your behavior. It doesn't excuse you treating people like utter garbage while you moralize about cuss words and profanity. What you say in these videos is just as nasty, cruel, and vindictive as any cuss word. In fact, it's worse because you guise it in niceness. Someone says, effeminate tactic to go after the supposed maturity of someone you're against when you do not actually have a proper intellectual refutation for that. Thank you, Octavian, for the good moderation stuff. That's always appreciated. Where we come from, that's called treachery. This is why, and actually I want to bring this up because I think it's important. Timothy. This is why I think Timothy Gordon's response. Where did he respond? Where did he respond? Okay. So let's read this real quick, just so we know the kind of person Jay Dyer is, and then we're going to compare it to how Trent Horn compares him to. Hands down, Jay Dyer, who I've debated twice, both times, Jay reached across the gap the moment the debate ended and apologized for any heat of the moment over aggressions, then brought my entire large family a meal. Both times we hung out and had fun for multi-hours. At those meals, Jay and his wife, Jamie Hanshaw, who watched movies in the green room with Gordon Child during one of the debates, were each exceedingly kind to my kids and wife. Okay. Also, Jay regularly expresses a generosity of time. First time we ever met, Jay and Jamie drove hours to meet me out of Elliot Holz's house. Also, generosity of resource via unsolicited sharing of his connections rather than just asking for my connections. I have every confidence that Trent Horn is a good-hearted family man who loves Jesus. But to be honest, he needs to learn some sort of magnanimity, which makes friends out of foes. At our debates, he never expressed any species of any of Jay's generosities. In fact, I brought him a signed copy of my book in exchange, the exchange of which is standard, and he left it there at the studio. Guys, that's insane. Imagine that. Listen, guys, I'll show you something. Let me show you something. Okay, here in Korea, there is a pastor that I was filming stuff with Kongmin Lee. So some of you guys might remember Kongmin Lee and I are working on stuff together. I do a lot of research for him. He pays me to do some research for him and things like that. And he brought me to do filming in Busan. And he was there to do a speech or a talk to a very, very large Korean church. That Korean church is being persecuted right now by the Korean government. The pastor was thrown in jail. They let him off on probation, etc., etc. To go into the details would be very obnoxious. Okay, that pastor and his family and the side pastors, I guess you like the associate pastors, treated us, me and Kongmin, with such generosity, with such kindness, with such loving Christian, just basic Christian like kindness, that I was very moved. Okay, they brought us out to eat. They went to expensive place to go out to eat with. They showed us around. They toured us. They drove us around. They were extremely generous. Okay, real quick, guys. Octavian with the 10. Thank you. The way you're going with the Kathy's, Tim will go to the Divine Liturgy in the near future. I do think so. I think that Tim's on that path. I think somebody who honestly reviews these things will eventually be led there. Anyways, the point is I'm there and they know I'm Orthodox. I even tell them I'm Orthodox and they thought that was amazing. They said, oh, we love Orthodox people. They're kind of your like standard ecumenist evangelicals. So they kind of just believe if you love Jesus and you believe in certain, they're conservative in their theology as far as you can be conservative as an evangelical, but they're not Calvinist. And so what I will say is that they asked me about orthodoxy. They asked me about theology. They were very invested in my thoughts on various issues. And they knew that I don't necessarily agree with them on all things. Guess what? They gave me the Korean version of Evangelicalism Explosion, which is what their pastor, the pastor that was jailed, wrote. And evangelism is so easy. Guess what? I read both of them. Okay? There was some decent stuff in it, mostly practical stuff like hey, this is how we engage with new people in our church. This is how we do things like that. He's very, very smart man. He's very well read in the scriptures. I just wish he'd become Orthodox. That being said, you know how freaking insanely rude it would be if I did what Trent Horn did and did not take that book and just said, I'm going to leave it at the hotel. Oh, thank you. And then just put it aside. Insanely rude. Somebody's asking, I think Nikolai's Rokor. I am actually directly under the Moscow Patriarchate. My bishop is directly under the Moscow Patriarchate. I am not under Rokor. Rokor is my little brother. I was made a reader at a very ethnic Russian parish. Yeah. Someone said, "What's up, my goat?" for $5. Thank you. Silent for the 5. You guys have been very generous already today. So it's been, thank you. Much of a blessing. Now, to continue, imagine, can you guys imagine being that rude and not taking something from his wife? Okay. I invited Trent and his wife to meals and onto my show for couples discussion with my wife. And he responded that his wife didn't trust strangers or something. Parentheses, this is only shortly before she made skits mocking said strangers, myself, my brother, and my wife. So Trent's wife is not a pleasant woman, to be fair. I mean, I'm going to be honest. If you make a skit insulting the people that were generous enough to do that with your time, I would never do that. Ever. If Elijah Yassi came to Korea and he met me and we went out to eat and we had dinner and stuff like that, I wouldn't then proceed to make a video immediately after slamming the guy as a fake or something like that, unless something did happen where he was like a total asshole or something like that, right? Could you imagine doing that? I would never think of doing that. So, to be fair, last time in Dallas, we had plans to get a friendly coffee, but his family got the flu. I'm 100% down to make this happen eventually, hopefully with Steph and Laura present. Burying the hatchet is what Christian men do, but I'm never sure that's what he wants. Communion with mean men with myself or Jay, which presents a striking irony. Perhaps Trent ought to be looking at Jay as an exemplar of generosity instead of pettily exaggerating a single flaw as if it means more than it does. And this was him responding to, do you think Trent's disposition or spirit is more Christ-like than Dyer or yourself or other way around? And he says he has a very similar story with Paleo ChristCon and his wife. And by the way, I can affirm that. Andrew Wilson, and I will say this on record, and anybody who comes on this channel trying to bash Andrew Wilson, I have no patience for it. I will tolerate a little bit of criticism because I can criticize Andrew perfectly fine, and Andrew accepts my criticism because I've earned it, because Andrew knows he can trust me. Andrew knows if he goes to me with something private, I'm not going to leak it to the public. Andrew knows that if he talks to me about theology where he's confused on areas, I'm not going to bash Andrew and say, nah, Andrew doesn't know what he's talking about. He knows that he can trust me with that. Okay? And Andrew and Rachel are immensely generous people. Immensely generous. People know if they go to me privately with their political opinions that I disagree with, I'm not going to go around and bashing them publicly. I'm not going to screenshot and leak the messages, right? Everything I say to somebody in private, I would say in public. So if I call you a retard in private, I'd call you a retard in public too. Right? That's not how I work. That's not how I function. So for me, I think Trent's disposition here is entirely uncharitable and unchristian. He's willing to slander these people to the public, but he's not willing to engage with them privately. He's not willing to try and bury the hatchet. He's not trying to come to an agreement of sorts of like, hey, I'll leave you out of your mouth, you leave me out of my mouth, things like that. He doesn't do that. Trent doesn't have the patience to deal with people of that nature. Now, what's hilarious to me, and Kevin, I'll let you write up in a second here. I just need you to show you. I need you to show me your well, hold on. There's got to be a way that I can do this. Guests. Hold on, guys. There's got to be a way that I can. Audio. Hey, Kevin, can you just message me in the back? I just need to know, have I had you on before, Kevin? Okay, I think I did. It's just that ever since that one guy nuked my stream because of posting nasty crap, I just need to figure out, is there a way that on StreamYard, does anybody know on StreamYard if there's a way for me to there's got to be a way for me to basically block any images from people on StreamYard. Yeah, do you have a camera, brother? I just need you to like wave or something like that in the background. Just give me a second. Just give me a second. All right. So that is what he was all up in arms about. Actually, I think I have a better way of doing this here. Add you to stage and then full screen. There we go. Hey, Kevin, how are you doing? You can go ahead and speak now, brother.
Hey, sorry, I'm just working, brother. Had to pull
it's
the
okay.
card out of the
No,
turret.
it's okay. I had somebody pop in the other day and
yeah, that's wild,
you know,
dude. Why do people do that? People are slimy, man.
well, it's because I was criticizing the trans cult, and
that explains it all.
and I was suspicious too, because I was like, I don't know if this is real, but I remember your name, so that's why I'm.
It was just like last week we talked. I just wanted to mention real quick, and I'll stay in here muted if you want me to. I don't
that's
care,
fine if
really.
you want.
Yeah, but Trent literally damns Jay to hell and Andrew for cursing, and he pretty much damns any Christian who curses to hell later on in the video.
Yeah, we'll get there. Trust me. I saw that short part of the clip, but the reason that I'm bringing this up is because I want to show you guys the disposition of Gavin Ortland of Trent. They are actually the ones that are far nastier in spirit than anything. If someone cusses, if I let loose a F-bomb, that's not a big issue. I honestly don't care. Now, generally, I think you should be moving towards doing that less often, but I'm not going to judge like somebody and be like, they let a cuss word out. So.
No, exactly. And those guys are the most dishonest guys ever. I mean, Ortland wouldn't even go back after Michael Garton found out all the pre-Nicene icon stuff, and he still was making videos saying, yeah, I'm just going to choose not to believe that.
Yeah. And he, Gavin Ortland had a talk with Craig Truglia about icons, and Craig came out with a bunch of stuff on that. Like numerous people that have discussed with him in the past, he won't re-engage with them. He's kind of beyond it, right? He's always above and beyond it. That's what these guys do. So let's continue on with this.
Hilda Swinton, I said nothing about the title of bishop. This is yet another example of you behaving like an overgrown 12-year-old instead of a mature man of God. Grow up.
Okay, so how dare Jay let a F word and call someone Tilda Swinton, and then you're going to go around here and saying you're behaving like an overgrown 12-year-old instead of a mature man of God. Wow. Right? Like, this is the kind of stuff that we always have to deal with. Jordan Cooper's the same way. All these guys that complain about meanness, they all are the same. They all complain and moan and groan about that stuff, but then when push comes to shove, they'll get just as nasty just as quick.
Up. Notice my reply is not verbal abuse. It's a fraternal correction rooted in objective facts about.
Okay, Mr. Trent Horn, who is trying to fraternally correct somebody who, by the way, is not even in your own church, who thinks you're a heretic. Jay doesn't you, Andrew and Jay, guess what? They're not going to accept correction from somebody who's not even in their church, and is at minimum, and at best, if you are friends with them, like Timothy Gordon. If Timothy Gordon thought Jay was going a little far or a little harsh on something, Tim could probably message Jay, and Jay would probably take that more serious. You have not earned that right, Trent. You're not in their church. And what does the Bible say about correcting a brother? You take them aside and correct them first. Do you admonish them in front of the entire town or the entire city? Is that what the scriptures say? Hey, you're my fraternal brother. This is a fraternal correction. Let me post a video about this where I publicly chastise you in front of the entire world. Seriously. Byzantine says, someone made a hilarious point on Cleve Stream. Thank God I don't cuss like Jay or Andrew. The parable of the publican and the podcaster. So true. These guys and their pietism is the difference between a sailor and a politician. A sailor may cuss, but he'll have your back. The politician will throw you out in the wolves on a drop of a hat. So true. Yeah, and cussing and cursing, that is an important thing. Is calling someone retarded a cuss word? Arguably, no. Is using the F word as like just a general slang? Is that cursing somebody? Maybe not. However, if I were to say go F your mother, or I say I hope your mother dies, like I hope your mother gets hit by a car or something like that, that is far nastier, meaner, and cruel and vindictive and dirty to leave your lips than saying go F yourself, right? Go F yourself. That's far nastier. So I have zero patience for these piety signalers. Zero. Kevin, go ahead.
I was just going to say, it's kind of like the, shoot, I lost it now. Like when somebody says, yeah, I think I was going to mention the piety signaling. Like these guys, like I said, these guys can ignore everything they want and then do all this stuff. And then, yeah, like it's such a big deal. Or yeah, it's the intent. I'm sorry. It's like idolatry, right? It's the intent behind like when Jay calls somebody a retard or something like that, or like on an open forum, he might, say something. And then immediately afterwards, he usually says, I'm just joking, man. You know what I mean? Or like, I'm not trying to be rude to you, but you don't know what to talk about. Stuff like that. Yeah. It's like, it's the condition of the heart of where it comes from. Like,
let me ask you this. Is it rude to tell somebody they don't know what they're talking about? Or they're uneducated?
No, absolutely not. I would rather somebody, Proverbs tells us we should want people to tell us that.
Yes. Also, guys, listen to the mods.
Yeah, I just said
listen to the mods. All right. All right. We all can disagree patiently. We're brothers here. So, okay. Let's continue on with this.
About how Dyer was conducting himself. It's the same correction I gave Nick Fuentes regarding his abusive behavior towards my.
By the way, I want to say one thing. Nick Fuentes is, I don't support anything that guy says, but even Nick Fuentes can sometimes be, he makes a good point here, actually. But one thing that I'll say about Nick is I think Nick does go too far at times. I think Nick makes things personal. I think he goes for family, and that's just something that I will never do. I won't go for somebody's family unless that family member is involved. For example, someone's like, oh, but you just mentioned Trent's wife. Yeah, Trent's wife decided to be a public person and attack Jay and others publicly. So now she is open to criticism. So I just want to make that clear.
My family.
Oh, my family. You attacked my family. You called my wife a bitch. Well, okay, you're a bitch. She's a bitch. You're a couple of bitch. You and your wife and your whole family are bitch. You got a whole family of whiny, lying bitch. Is that better?
Well, what would be better is if you submitted yourself to a spiritual director, maybe someone like Father Ripperger, so you can learn to behave in an actually Christ-like way and not like an overgrown 12-year-old screaming into his Xbox Live headset. Once again, fraternal.
Is that his only criticism? Like, that's the only way, like, Trent knows how to, like, you're a 12-year-old screaming in an Xbox headset. It's like it's so childish. It's just so low tier. And listen, like, I'm not even a Nick fan. I'm not even a Nick fan. But Trent is sitting here just like clutching pearls about that. And it's like, okay, yeah, like, do I think we went too far? Probably. But at the same time, it's like, just get over yourself, dude. Get over yourself.
Fraternal correction is not the same as abusive insults, and any mature person can see the difference. But after giving this kind of correction,
Oh, yes. I often, when I'm criticizing another adult, I often, a full-grown ass adult, someone who's almost 30, Nick's closing in on 30, and Jay, who's, you know, in his 40s. It's very common for me to go around and say, hey, buddy, you're acting kind of like a 12-year-old. Maybe you need to stop that. Dude, if I did that, I'd get smacked. Rightfully so. If someone did that to me, they'd be this close to getting punched. I don't tolerate that kind of stuff. You don't treat me like a child. Okay? The only person that can treat me like a child or correct me in such a way would be my spiritual father, my priest, my mother, right? And even then, I'd be like, Mom, I'm not a child. You can't be doing that, especially in front of other people, blah, blah, blah. Like, it would be contextual based. These people are insane. These piety signalers just want to humiliate other people. Yeah, because that's the only thing they want to do. They want to humiliate them so they don't have to address the arguments.
Jay Dyer, he completely lost it. He immediately blocked me and went on a tirade of posts, including one where he simply says, "Hey, Trent, F word you." And this kind of language isn't unusual for Jay.
Well, hold on.
Someone like Father Ripperger, so you can let. Once again, fraternal correction is not the same as abusive insults, and any mature person can see the difference. But after giving this kind of correction to Jay Dyer, he completely lost it. He immediately blocked me and went on a tirade of posts, including one where he simply says, "Hey, Trent."
I think he's saying Trent F you because the pictures that he posted give context to something that he's talking to you about back and forth. Yeah, maybe you cut out the context. Maybe he didn't just say F you. Maybe he's saying F you because look at all this stuff, Trent. So actually, let's do this. At J Dyer. Oh, shoot. What am I doing? There we go. From J Dyer, and let's say Trent. That should pull it up, right? There we go. Whoa, wow. So let's see here. He's responding to you. He's not just doing a tirade of posts like you said he was. So he couldn't have responded to you if you weren't that. So as expected, you ratio a childish commenter like Jay Dyer by pointing out his immature behavior. Then he responds in a childish way by blocking you. And then he's blocking you because Trent Horn virtue signals over me, calling him a fake bishop. A fake bishop, anyways, pathetic. And then he says, Trent, F you, because I firmly support vaccines. Has Trent ever apologized for bashing people and slandering people over being questioning the vaccine mandates? Trent toed the line on that because the Pope toed the line on that. PaxTube. This is Gregory Bond, a Jewish Catholic priest. He was the key writer in early drafts of Nostra Aetate. He converted to Catholicism after fleeing the Nazis, blah, 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 blah. So right there's context to what Jay is posting for a reason, right? And he's basically saying, Trent, you will never address my arguments. You're just sitting there. So that needs to be said. So anyways, let's continue.
F word you.
So again, this just shows Trent's kind of duplicitous. He doesn't give the full context of what went back and forth before Jay said, F you, dude.
And this kind of language isn't unusual for Jay, though I would ask him if the Orthodox monks on Mount Athos talk
no.
like he does. And I'm going to be blunt.
Okay, so a monastic, you are not held to the standards of a monastic as a layperson. Name me one bishop or priest, and in fact, name me one monastic that's going to say, "Oh yeah, the average layperson is going to be held to the same standard of of moral excellence as a clergy, or as a monastic, I should say." It's insane. Kevin, what's up?
I just wanted to mention, I read this thing today on Facebook. It's on a group I'm in. It's like Orthodox Christian. They post good stuff, but I did do a check on this, and Mount Athos actually, during World War II, asked Hitler to protect them from the Bolsheviks. I don't know if, like, I mean, I kind of looked into it. It seemed true. So, like, I mean, I don't know, just since we were talking about that stuff. I'm not like a supporter of anything like that, but like I could see why they did it, you know. And
No, I
to
mean,
bring,
there's a level of praxis and practicality that has to happen with any sort of group. You got to remember the monks of Mount Athos are going to see anything as superior to being under the Ottoman or the
oh yeah, for sure. They even like called Hitler, like, they didn't like praise him, of course, but they were like, yeah, he really helped us out from like all getting killed, basically.
Hitler was a utilitarian. Ultimately, he was willing to help people when it was convenient to help him, and he didn't support people when it wasn't convenient. So,
Absolutely.
anyways, I don't want to make this into a Hitler thing, but do monastics
Yeah, no,
really
sorry,
not
my
ever
bad,
eat?
man.
No problem. Do monastics really not ever eat meat? So my understanding, it depends on what kind of monastic you are, but I heard that on feast days they do. On feast days they do eat. They'll eat meat only on feast days though, so they're basically vegan almost all the time. But I could be wrong on that. There could be exceptions to the rule there. What was I saying? Oh, somebody asked earlier. Nikolai is saying, "Hey boy, get back to work." Is in the southern accent is racist? No, I don't really believe racism exists, frankly.
If a person consistently has this kind of anger in his heart, he will not go to heaven. What concerns me is that Dyer, Wilson, and other
anger in their heart. So now Trent is able to mind read. He's able to see into the hearts of men. Right now, everyone's seen this clip. It's kind of a joke. Mathios or Mathios.
That was instant. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you, brother?
I'm also good. Thanks for asking. This clip specifically, I wanted to hop in on this one because he was just ripping on Nick Fuentes, but they're both at the same level where he's using nicer words to describe the same thing, but he's also deciding salvation up to his own standard. It's the craziest thing for me.
It's absolutely insane. There's a reason Orthodox are so slow to condemn anybody. That's a damnation, right?
It's not our decision.
Yeah, exactly. And so Trent is just saying, like, it could be, say, now if Trent said, you know what, Jay, I just don't think that this is something that you should do. I don't think it's good for you, etc., etc. That'd be a totally different story, right?
Right.
It'd be a totally different story, and we'd be able to kind of acknowledge that, right?
Right.
But that's not what he's doing. And again, what I said earlier, I don't know if you were here for earlier, but what I said earlier was very, I think, important to understand. You are not his brother. You are not his priest. You are not anybody of authority or even somebody who should be approaching Jay in this manner. You're publicly chastising him as if you are a morally superior person, as if you are the parent or spiritual father of somebody.
Right.
If even and like I said, even my mother or father, if they, as a 32-year-old man, if my mother and father came out and started publicly chastising me with my wife and kid in tow and in front of other people, I would say that's unacceptable, Mom.
Yeah.
I would tell my mother that's unacceptable.
I mean, it just even goes further because that's more of like an expulsion of the Catholic Church. They see Orthodoxy with correct sacraments, correct liturgy. They see us as fraternal brothers, but we're the ones calling them heretics. Like there's such a break that I'm not getting how they don't see it.
Yeah, they just, it's like they refuse to put us in your mindset. Leon, message below. I need to see your face, brother. Unfortunately, I have to start cracking down on that. Or I just need to see you wave at the camera so that I can confirm that you're not just some dangerous person. So, hey, cool, great, thanks, brother. That's good. All right, Leon, Any thoughts before we get going some more on the video? Because there's some more stuff that he says that I really want to address. So what's up?
Yeah, how's it going, Nikolai and Matthias? How's it going?
What up, dude?
Yeah, I just want to ask, like, I don't really understand Trent Horn's position. Is he not like a Thomist or something, or is he just like a pop apologist? Because I remember I saw him do a video against, I think it was Redeemed Zoomer, where he was bashing him for predestination, but aren't Thomists double predestination? Like, don't they believe in like an Augustinian model of predestination?
I mean, so the Catholics are ecumenists now. So it's impossible. Like, Eric Ybarra is going around defending PSA, right? And Catholics traditionally have never held to that, right? So you guys, like, to pin a Roman Catholic apologist down is a effort of futility, because you're never going to get these people to be able to consistently hold themselves to any standard, because their standard is whatever the Pope says. That's the problem with the Rome, right? Rome is whatever the Pope says, we got to defend. This is why actually someone like what's his name? He's the guy that Michael Lofton. Michael Lofton is actually, ironically, more consistent than Elijah Yassey. He's more consistent than all the trad cats that try and pretend that the Pope is still based in trad. He's more consistent about all of that stuff, because these guys have no consistent standard on any of this. So for Trent, is he a Thomist? He's a Thomist if it's useful in the moment to be a Thomist, but he's not a Thomist when it comes to the modern defense of the papacy. Do you think Thomas Aquinas would defend the modern Pope? The Pope
no,
today?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. No way.
Exactly. So they have no standards. Counterdox, brother.
Hey, man. I mean, look, in defense of Trent Horn, I don't think he's a very smart person. And no, this is not. I don't say this as an insult, because we've seen his debates. He's not there. He's not.
He's not great
to do any sort of debate. He's not. I really don't think he deserves what he has right now. His views and stuff. It's really nothing impressive. I think he kind of rose pretty much like Destiny. When there's not many competition, and his followers kind of are like him. They're just regular Catholics, and they're not very traditional. They don't really care. And I really don't, to be honest with you, I don't think that he's meaning to condemn people to hell. He's just really stupid.
I think that there's some truth to that. One thing I'll say is that I think Trent he's had one or two decent performances, especially against atheists. But here's the thing. You don't have to be that smart or that good to beat an atheist, because atheist worldview is basically indefensible. So that's kind of my thought process, is like, you really don't know how good somebody is at defending their worldview until they come up with something that can actually challenge it. And it's my opinion that so far a lot of these pop apologists that rose to prominence because there was a vacuum of apologetics during the new atheist period, like 2008 to 2012-ish, like that period of the new atheists, Richard Dawkins, Daniel Dennett, Sam Harris, all those guys, Christopher Hitchens, all of those guys they were unopposed. And then a bunch of these guys that were passable apologists for Christianity rose to prominence along with them. That was Trent Horn, Matt Slick, James White, those types of people. Does anyone think James White or Matt Slick is smart?
No.
Was that rhetorical? No.
No, I'm asking genuine. Did any of you guys actually think they're smart?
No.
I mean, the smartest guy they think from the atheist camp was the Christopher Hitchens guy, and all that guy talks about is like, oh my God, religion horrible.
Look at these wars. How could you
that's
possibly?
it. It's all appeal to emotions. And I think these people, like, especially like these normal Catholics, they're just wired to, as their last line of defense, it's just, okay, it's time to virtue signal.
Yes, dude. That's exactly what I'm noticing with Trent Horn, is because he can't actually debate the points. He's now like piety like, obviously his channel has always been piety signaling, but it's the same with the atheists, where it's like, once you start making good points, they'll refer to the scripture they don't hold to say that you're not acting like what they think a Christian is. and it's just so obvious. My bad, Leon.
Leon, what's up?
Oh, nothing. I just wanted to say, like, I do think he is a smart guy. I think what's holding these people back is the misrepresentation of other people's positions and, like, the smugness and niceness they try to portray in people's face.
It does them a disservice, certainly.
Yeah, like, it shows, like, they want to show themselves as charitable, but it's blatant misrepresentation when you come down to content. Like, remember what Trent Horn did to Father Moses?
Oh, yeah, it was terrible. Terrible. I remember responding to that video. In fact, I might do a follow-up on redo that video because that video is a little dated. But yeah, it's just awful. And what these people do is they constantly do these things. This is why I just have zero patience for it. This is why, like, you know, people have tried sending me clips of me like crashing out on people. Like, oh, look, it's like, yeah, I'll crash out on you too. It's like, I'll crash out on you. I don't care. It's like, listen, it's the internet. First off, get over yourself. Be a little bit like, have a little bit of self-awareness. We are talking on the internet, debating each other on the internet. There's got to be a little bit of self-awareness. I and you, Trent, are not PhD scholars sitting in Oxford with a pipe, debating in a back study with like respectability. Like, stop. And by the way, like, that's how Trent views academic debate is. It's like, I'm going to bring my sources and you're going to bring your sources and we're going to do 2 + 2 = 4. And that is how we're going to determine the truth. No, dude, listen to Aristotle, listen to Socrates, listen to Plato, how they talked about debate. They ripped each other apart and believed rhetoric was vital to actually making arguments. This is why they hate Jay, because Jay actually understands debate as an art form,
Hey, Nick,
and as a medium.
how do you think he did in that debate with Jay? Just curious.
Trent?
Yeah.
Oh, how long was that ago? Like 4 years ago?
No, it's
4 or
more
5?
than that. It's got to be more than that.
It's got to be. If I remember, it's been a long time since I reviewed it, but if I remember, Jay pretty much just crushed him because Trent tried arguing that the theophanies, that even the Trinity and like monotheism was a development, and that's how he was defending development of doctrine. If my memory serves correct, that was his like one of his core contentions. And Jay's like, what about the theophanies? Like, clearly, the Jews believed the theophanies were the second person of the Godhead. They believed in multiplicity of God, clearly, right? And Trent was just like, he had no response. It was a complete that one moment destroyed the debate for Trent. You know, so
I mean, all of them are like that. Do you follow Eric Ibarra on Facebook?
Not on Facebook. I've seen some of his posts on Facebook, but on X, I do follow Eric.
I'm assuming it's the same thing, but the entire thing, it's about ruin. His goal is to ruin Christianity, and I'm pretty much convinced that that's what he's trying to do, because every day it's like, oh look, it's all doctrinal development. He's been dedicating his career to prove that.
Listen, I will take Cleve's receding hairline and I'll get some implants into my beard. How about that?
Dude, I'd want some too. Come on.
Guys, listen. Part of the reason why I still look like I'm 20, some people will say that. Some people think I'm older, but it doesn't matter. The point is, part of the reason I look like I'm 20 is because I can't grow a beard. And I got a youthful face, I grant you guys that, but my dad was not able to grow a proper beard. He wasn't even able to connect here to here until my dad was almost 40. Like, straight up. My dad is completely white though, by the way, and I'm already graying really, really hard. Can't tell because it's like just a few pieces here and there, but I am going white all over. I got white in my beard already. Like, I'm going gray. So, I always find that hilarious that people are like, "Oh, you're super young looking." I'm like, "Yeah, I guess that's just my curse." So, that being said, come to Korea. None of them can grow beards, right? Convert docs, counter docs.
I've only been there 3 times in my life.
My bishop can grow. This is all he has, and he doesn't shave. This is all he has. Our deacon has the most, and his is like this very thin, and he has it all coming to a point, but it's very thin, very thin. Yeah, Koreans just can't grow hair. So Some people just can't do it, guys. That's the harsh reality. I don't know where I got these genes from, but they come from my dad's side of the family somewhere. So, but anyways, guys, let's continue. Let's continue this. Let's see what
Other commenters like them cultivate this sinful attitude among their audiences. And that can lead to damnation for many of their followers if they fall down the rabbit hole of hatred and malice. What amazes me about everyone who says I'm tone policing is that when I watch their response videos, they just stare at their screen as I read off Bible verse after Bible verse that says Christians should not act like the way they act.
No. Bullshit. I used a bad word. Oh no. A bunch of BS. Okay, first off, we know that Christ used words and terms that would have been considered way more offensive than an F slur. Brood of vipers, if you know anything about the history of what that term meant, was absolutely one of the worst things you could say to somebody back then. You're a brood of vipers, right? That's the first thing. Second thing is, what do you think the prophet Elijah was doing when he called? Was it Elijah or Enoch? With the bald men. Who was the bald men one, guys? Now, someone remind me.
I think Enoch. I think. I'm also not that well versed.
Enoch sicked a bear on these people for calling him bald. Like straight up, man. Like talk about being sensitive. Talk about Elijah. Someone says Elijah. Thank you.
Yeah, my bad.
All you have to.
I can never. There's like 3 E names. I can never remember them all.
My bad. No, but even like in a modern sense with Christians, it's like if you hold to the story of the Garden of Eden, I mean, obviously the truth, calling somebody a viper is pretty rough.
Yeah.
What about St. Jerome and St. John Chrysostom?
Oh, they had some colorful language to say about people. I mean, all you have to do is read what some of the church fathers and saints wrote about their pagan contemporaries. St. Augustine said what he had to say about some people, bro. it's like way leagues worse than any cuss word you could imaginably think of. Now, that being said, is that something you should do without thought and with like off the cuff? Probably not. And nobody is saying that we shouldn't learn temperance over time. But that takes time. What Trent, you're telling me you've never had anger in your heart towards somebody and you've lashed out and said something nasty, even if it wasn't a cuss word? Well, clearly you have, because you're calling people immature 12-year-olds. Does anyone actually believe this is coming from a place of calm and like namaste? Of course not, right?
And they have no response, or they use the craziest exegetical gymnastics to get around the text. Here's part of Jay's reaction, dropping an F-bomb to insult somebody, like Andrew does in this clip.
I will never be able to convince you of my worldview. Charlie, I just think, honestly, you're too stupid to understand them.
St. Paul repeatedly says that overseers in the church must be gentle and not quarrelsome or violent, and that...
Okay, is Jay or Andrew an overseer in the church?
No. Layman, with the blessing of their bishop, but still a layman.
Yeah. Is the bishop blessing every single word that comes out of Jay's mouth? No.
All Christians must put away anger, wrath, malice, slander, and foul.
I don't think Jay is a particularly angry person, by the way. I don't think he has particular malice towards anyone, and I don't think he really slanders people. He could get things wrong, but that doesn't mean he's slandering anyone. RO, welcome to the chat, brother.
Oh. What up, RO?
Can you hear us, RO? Hey, RO, just get your whatever's working, and then just wave at us once you think you get it working. Once you can hear us. I'll just remove him because he's got a little bit backlight.
Foul talk from their mouth. Jesus said in Matthew 5:22, whoever insults his brother shall be liable to the council, and whoever says you fool shall be liable to the hell of fire. And
you're not our brother. I don't know what he wants to say. Like, we don't view you as a brother, dude. Ah, Lord have mercy.
2 Timothy chapter 2 said,
yeah, the text is not making a joke or making fun of people. The text is accuses his brother and thus liable to the council. So that's some Roman Catholic translation.
Notice that Jay has to sit in silence at the verses which describe how Christians should act, because he consistently does not act like that. Second, Matthew 5:22.
He didn't sit in silence. He totally answered. All right, Arl, we're giving you another chance here. What's up, brother? Can you hear us?
Hey man, sorry about that. Looks like my browser lost connection.
Oh, that's okay. That stuff happens. I understand.
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts, real quick, before we continue?
But yeah, I was gonna say, just like there's a difference between someone saying a curse word and someone cursing someone else. Like these guys live in such a pocket
Cushy
dimension. Yeah, just
They- well-
like another pocket dimension of ridiculousness that cursing in especially the American culture is like it's a way to emphasize something, right? It's like an exclamation point.
A lot of times, yes.
So, but like you said, when Christ said when Christ called the Pharisees a brood of vipers, he wasn't just saying like the F word. He was saying something existential about who they were. He was invoking a curse on them. And the way that Trent is acting by, and I want us to look at this, right? It's not like he's just pulling out his phone and just saying, you know, Jay's a bad guy. He's going to hell because he's cursing. I mean, this dude you know how long it takes to set up a stream. Like this guy turned his camera on, he put a suit on, he put his foundation and his mascara or whatever girls do. He did the whole setup so he can sit here and try to destroy this dude's life.
He has slideshow things coming into his screen and like pop-ups, and like he had to actually put effort into this and think about this. And this is his response.
Yeah, and I said it earlier. I mean, him talking the way he's talking about these people, that's more of a curse than Jay Dyer saying fuck.
Yeah.
I mean, that's more of a curse.
Guys, believe it or not, I got so enraged. This was a long time ago, and I have no shame in saying that I said it, by the way. Like, I already repented because I knew I went too far. But I went on a stream with Matt Slick, and he has this little like crotch goblin butt buddy guy, who was like following him around, and they wouldn't respond to my relics argument. So I was making an argument from relics saying, if relics are clearly biblical, how can you deny, icons, because they're the same principle. The same principle roots relics with icons. And Matt refused to engage with it. He just went like this. He refused, even though they said, we'll have you on, we'll give you a chance to have a debate, and we'll go back and forth. He refused. Well, eventually they kicked me because I said, you're being a coward, blah, blah. And then I think I let an F word slide. And the host was like, yeah, we don't do F words on my channel. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. They let me back on and said, okay, we're going to give Nikolai another chance to debate. Instead of letting me debate, both Matt Slick and his little crotch goblin guy proceed to preach at me in the back. I was in the back end of the studio, not allowed to speak on Streamlabs. He proceeds to preach at me and the audience for 30 minutes. And then once they let me on, he says, I got to get going. Bye. Oh, I was enraged. His little buddy decides to say, well, I don't really want to debate Nikolai on this issue because it wasn't my debate. And so I think I'm just going to kick him now. And I'm like, dude, you're such a coward. He's like, oh, fine, we'll argue it. So I start going down my line of argumentation, and he interrupts me and calls me an immature child, saying, oh, you got to let me respond. Something. I'm like, dude, you don't call me a child. I was pissed at this point. So then he continues to interrupt me after I say, no, dude, you got to, and he keeps on interrupting me. I'm like, you know what? You're acting like a little F word, slur for homophobe, slur for black person, slur for homophobe, and then I left. But the thing is I'm not proud of that. I was upset. But the thing is that it's like everybody has their limit. Everybody. Yeah. And so it's like I'm an imperfect person. And I just want to say, guys, I did talk to my priest about that because I do know I went too far, but the point is that is going too far. Jay saying, you know what, Trent, F you. That's not going too far. No. You know, if Jay went, you know what, Trent, you and your wife are F beep 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 blah 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 beep, like Nick Fuentes, when Nick Fuentes says, you know what, your family's bitches, you're a bitch, blah blah bitch. Yeah, I think that's probably going a little too far. Okay, I do, but nothing what Jay did was like completely off the hinge, like
Yeah.
insane. Nothing that Andrew has done. Andrew's saying, I just think you're too effing stupid after 4 hours of dealing with this broad.
Seriously. Well, it's not even just the 4 hours. It's that 4 hours on top of the countless hours that he has to deal with those people every time he's
Already.
on that show.
Yeah. Well, 4 hours plus the girl, or I don't remember if it's a girl or what, but she literally attacked his family and insulted his wife. Like, what?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, anyways, the point is these people are crazy. So let's continue. Let's see if Sam Shamoon. Oh, he's gonna go after Sam Shamoon. I will say this: Sam Shamoon is a one guy that I think he goes too far. I don't think he has any patience or any temperance at all for his temper. I one time actually agreed with Sham on Facebook. This happened, real story. I got banned from his Facebook page after this because I was just like, hey, Sam, I know you're exploring Orthodoxy and Catholicism. This was before he became Catholic. I know you're exploring these things. I have a couple questions about this. I disagree with your take on this. I think that it's actually better to go this route when attacking atheists. He called me a son of the devil. He called my mother a whore and all this stuff. I'm like, bro, I'm agreeing with you. And he's just like, you are a vile, you're a vile son of like Satan. Get behind me, the demon. I'm like, bro, this is just constructive criticism, dude. He lost it. Like, that is total, like, that's levels way in above what Jay does, right? Like,
I joined Sam's stream one time, and my name is Mattheos, and I asked a very basic theological question. My name's Greek. He brags all the time about how he can read Greek. My name means with God in Greek. He saw my name and goes, Mattheos, what is this, a Muslim Shia, whore, whatever, son of the devil? Just kicked me off right off. Like, it's like, what did I do?
He's like that, though. Sam is totally unhinged. And by the way, it's one of those, this is another thing that I like to point. I love that classic argument where they say, what is porn and what is not porn, right? Like the judge says, I know porn when I see it. Like,
Right.
what's too far and too inappropriate? I know it when I see it, right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing with cussing. I know it when I hear it. When I hear somebody going too far or I see somebody going too far, I'll know it when I see it, right?
Right.
That's my position. And like, I know it in my heart when I go too far too. Like, everybody knows, and like, you get that feeling. It's like, gosh, dang it. I probably need to go and apologize to this person, or man, I lost my temper at this person. That was probably not the best way to go about it. By the way, I've lost my temper and lashed out at people, and then not a cuss word came out of my mouth. Not one cuss word, because I knew that my disposition of my heart was wrong, not necessarily the cuss words. So
Well,
any
yeah,
other?
that's
Go ahead.
the difference right there, and I don't want to gas anyone up, but I mean, the difference is the amount of shame involved. You know what I mean? Trent and these guys, they have no shame, right? We were just talking about James White. They don't have any shame. They have no shame. They don't. Nothing comes. I mean, we're talking about Jay, and we've seen how he acts, right? I mean, the guy, yeah, he'll crash out every once in a while, but the fact that he treated, was it Tim Gordon? The fact that he treated him the way he did is that says miles than him saying. And I've watched a lot of his stuff. I mean, I've probably seen him curse, I don't know, 4 times in total, and then the few times he said stuff on Twitter. That goes miles beyond the treacherous, absolute devil shenanigans that these guys are involved in.
Oh, it's insane. Well, Tom Bombadil says this is a crap cop-out for establishing a properly defined threshold. I don't like. Okay, then you give me, what's your threshold? You tell me your threshold. Because I guarantee you it's because I guarantee you that we would disagree. You probably think that if you agree with Trent, I don't know if you're actually disagreeing with me, but I think you are. Trent, I think the way Trent is acting here when he calls someone an immature 12-year-old is far worse than any cuss word. But Octavian, thanks for the $2. Let's meet the goal. Thanks. God bless you. Elijah Yassey banned after Alex Ornstream for saying the Pope was my favorite Protestant. That's funny. That dude, but to be fair, if you're trolling in chat a bit like that, I can't blame him entirely, right? Like, okay. So somebody says call in. I don't know who needs to call in, but Yeah, no one's gonna attack you here, brother. We might use a scary cuss word though. Anyways,
They might make
let's
fun of
get.
you, but
Doesn't have the Greek word kategoreo, which means accuse, though that word does appear in Matthew 12:10 and Matthew 27:12. An accuser is mentioned in Matthew 5:25 in a different context and situation. But the Greek of Matthew 5:22, the verse I
Wait,
referenced,
Did he say it's Matthew 5:25 and Matthew 5:22? Hold on. Yes. That's part of the same chapter. You have to take that as a whole. You can't say it's a different question or entirely different context.
I mean, in all honesty, who cares that he's using scripture? I mean, the heretics use more scripture than anyone. So
The demons know scripture.
Yeah, what does that have to do with anything, Trent? Come on.
Yeah, it's false.
In a different
The funniest
context.
part is the scripture never agrees with them.
Oh, it doesn't agree with them. They always have to twist it to mean like to the maximal. Like the thing is if he was consistent with his application of scripture here, he would have to abandon all sorts of things. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
Greek of Matthew 5:22, the verse I referenced, just records Jesus saying anyone who becomes angry or enraged with his brother or gizomenos is liable to judgment. And anyone who says or calls, not accuse, but merely says his brother is a raka or fool will be liable to the Sanhedrin and hell of fire. And this isn't some
We aren't your brother. There we go.
Catholic translation, because the same translation can be found in the Orthodox Study Bible. Another point my profane critics made was that I was inconsistent, because I thought Stephen...
By the way, the Orthodox Study Bible, we all know Father Stephen has some choice words about the translation of Greek they used. So apparently they used a inferior Greek translation of the English. So, but that being said, I hope the next edition is going to be much better, because I heard they're working on another edition. And I heard there's a new, I think it's the EOB or something like that. There's a new Greek translation that's from an Orthodox press house as well being produced for the Bible, which I'm really excited for.
Well, it's funny that he's talking about the word fool. I don't know if he's read Proverbs, but it says the word fool a lot.
Yeah. Yep. Again, when you take the whole of Scripture, you have to understand it with that nuance intact. It doesn't exist. So.
Even Colbert's joke with Philip Zimbardo, where he said, "I teach Sunday school, mother effer," was okay. But most people recognize that Colbert was speaking comedically in an over-the-top way. He wasn't angrily calling Zimbardo an MFer, like how Dyer said F you to me with anger, or other apologists online who I've seen use...
It's Twitter! I'm sorry, it's Twitter!
It's like...
How do you know it was with anger?
If you mean the same thing but say different words, does the word really matter? Does the intention matter? Like the scripture says you need to be able to identify a fool. To call a fool seems in line with scripture. It's isolating.
Yeah, the fool saith in his heart there is no God. Would Trent say that atheists are fools? I imagine he probably would. The only reason that he's upset with Jay is because, well, Jay's a Christian. I'm a Christian too. This is because remember what Trent Horn had an entire video where he talks about how he doesn't want to engage with Eastern Orthodox. Why doesn't he want to engage with us? Because he's trying to win souls for Christ. He's a generic Protestant Catholic. He doesn't believe Protestants or Orthodox are damned to hell, which is what the traditional position of their church is. He's an ecumenist, so he sees them as brothers and sisters in the faith. And by the way, I just want to make this point super clear. This is the same guy that just got done having a debate, sit-down, friendly meal with Matt effing Slick. He just had a sit-down conversation / debate with Matt effing Slick. One of the worst, most vile humans in the apologetic space. And horrible person. Like on every level. Just mind-boggling.
Stuff like this makes me furious. I mean, there's no loyalty with these people. There's no loyalty at all. I mean, like, most Catholics would, I forgot who was just saying it, that the Catholics believe that the Orthodox are, like, distant cousins or relatives or whatever. And, like you just said, Trent is an ecumenist. Ecumenist. My English ain't so good. And this dude is willingly, I mean, he's going out of his way to throw the people that he would call brethren under the bus in favor of an atheist, I mean, that makes Judas look like a saint.
It's insane. It's insane. Oh no, I wouldn't go
That's
that far, but
crazy, yeah.
that's pretty bad.
But that's insanity.
It is. Mr. Fist sends 20 Australian, which is doesn't exist. It's imaginary. It's illusory. But we always appreciate the illusory money from our Australian brothers from down under. No,
Well,
I'm teasing.
Australia's wasn't it a prison colony? So that's what, about 15 Newports.
So true. I remember discerning between Catholicism and Orthodoxy, and a lot of my choice boiled down to how feminine and weird Catholic apologists were. Whereas Jay and Andrew acted and speak exactly like the blokes I work with. Exactly. What about all the blokes that work in the shipping yards? What about all the military guys? What about all the truckers and things like that have a little bit more of a crass tongue that, you know, they're never going to get rid of their crass tongue their entire lives, but they might be able to engage in a little bit of theosis. They might be able to improve themselves a little bit by going to church, as long as they're not judged for every loose tongue that loose word comes from their lips, right? It's like, gosh, how many of you guys have been to Australia?
No, it doesn't exist.
Counterdocs has. Okay, Counterdocs. Do Aussies not punctuate every single sentence with the C word?
Well, I mean, my half brother grew up there, so he still talks like one of them. Yeah, kind of.
They use the C word constantly. That's one word I just don't like. I will not use because it's just like, there's just something about it. But man, they have, like, Aussies know how to cuss. They cuss better than just about damn near anyone, right? And it's an art form down there, you know. So that's one thing that I'll say is that you know, Mr. Fist is absolutely correct in saying that, like, these people, their piety signaling leads people away from the church, actually. And this is why their churches, this is why Novus Ordo masses, this is why evangelicalism with their piety signaling, like the female influencers and stuff like that we've covered on this channel before. Megan Basham or whatever her name is. Like, all of these people, there's a reason why young men are fleeing in droves from your churches. There's a reason why the only people going to your churches are these super hyper enthusiastic females who really like the feminine worship, where they're raising their hands and they're swaying back and forth, and Jesus is their boyfriend. Okay.
But I mean, you know what's interesting? Like, maybe this is just my experience, but I believe like the most nasty people in the Christian sphere online are Catholics, specifically trad cats. And
oh gosh, they're bad. They're really
bad. Even the Uniates, like remember Voice of Diddy before he went out the game, and that guy was like he was acting all civil, but all the stuff he's saying is just, you know, it's like
so nasty. Yeah,
it's not nasty, it's stupid.
Well, look how they treated Ubi Petrus after the debate. Ubi said one thing that could have been misconstrued as slightly rude, and that was him critiquing Voice of Reason's response. Him saying that was bad. That was just awful.
That was like loft and tier.
And they lost their minds. But then crickets after Voice of Reason. Dude, where was what's his name? What's militant and Thomist? I can't remember. Wagner, Trent, all of the non-Chalcedonian Coptic bros, they all circled the wagon with Voice of Reason. They platform him still.
So I would give it to Christian Wagner that he did call out Voice of Diddy.
Yeah, but Wagner's bad in other ways. He totally ignores like other things from other people.
He still owes us a shoe. Because he said if Leo was elected, he'd eat his shoe. So I remember that. I'm not letting it go.
I do remember that. Dude,
he's a Sed, right?
No, he's TLM, like SSPX guy.
Okay, which is now also half schismatic. If I'm correct.
It's not formalized yet, but they're on their way out. That's for sure. Wagner is slightly higher tier. Some of the chat is saying, oh, he's FSSP. is what some people are saying. Which again,
Oh,
I don't know
Saint
the
Peter.
difference between all of that. I don't know all the difference between all of that, but
I
at the end of the day,
think with FS, I think that's Saint Peter. I think they're less close to schism than SSPX because they there's one out here. I'm in Atlanta. There's one out here, and they do the Latin Mass and all that stuff. But I think they're less, I guess, radical.
yeah.
For lack
Christian
of a better
Mario
word.
though is like, you got to remember who Christian Mario is. Christian Mario is like the bro of Orthodox wear. He's like the bro. I'm bros with everyone. I'm bro, and he's nice. And Christian Mario actually agrees with us and all the apologists on our rhetoric. He just is like, I'm more effective being a bro, right? Which is fair. There are some people that are going to be more effective like that. So, anyways, let's continue this.
Language like
I just want to finish off this part. I'm not interested in him critiquing Sam because I have no defense for Sam. I have no defense for him at all. So
you effing F slur. At worst, all this critique proves is I was incorrect in where we should draw the line between colorful speech and sinful speech. Not that there is no line to be drawn, or that these profane critics don't gratuitously go over the line in their own abusive behavior. Another thing these critics do is ignore the Bible's commands to be gentle by saying they're allowed to imitate the prophets, apostles, and Christ himself, who they say allegedly mocked people. That's the claim Sam Shamoon made when he was on Bryce Crawford's podcast recently. But let me give you an analogy to show why this method doesn't work. Imagine I told my children, don't steal and destroy books from the library. Then one day they start stealing books because they saw me take a pornographic book and destroy it. I'd tell them, I appreciate you trying to be like me, but you aren't mature enough.
he can't even say, he said pornographic. Dude, just say pornographic. It's not a cuss word. What, you don't think that your audience of young men isn't aware of porn?
I mean,
Come on.
the faggotry is so audacious. I almost respect it.
We can't. The F slur is one that YouTube doesn't tolerate. So let's be clear.
Okay, all right. My bad.
No, it's fine. It's fine. They won't. They're not going to cancel me over one, and no one's going to report it most likely. But still, just better safe than sorry. But I gotta say, dude, it's like it's almost like this is what I imagine is happening off stream. So he's sitting there, his desk is there, and right behind his desk, behind the camera, this is his wife going like this. His wife is just sitting there, just like mean gazing him, saying, "You better say this properly, Trent. If you don't defend all the females who are offended right now, Trent, me and you are done." Right? Like that's how I imagine it. Like I feel like, dude, I'm sorry, I hate being this mean, but after what his wife did to him on that freaking podcast, I don't know how he tolerates his wife being in the public sphere at all. I don't know how he didn't. I don't care if she has brain cancer. If my wife said that, if my wife said that, I'd be like, you are not to speak in public again, woman. And if you do, there's gonna be consequences. Seriously, I would never tolerate my wife talking to me about that way. By the way, my wife isn't even Christian, and if anyone talked to me that way or treated me that way, my wife would destroy her or him.
Yeah.
Because my wife has loyalty. There's no way she would ever be caught in a million years talking that way about me on a podcast.
That's a massive flex.
Well, but by the way, that's just basic Korean tradition. Like, you don't bash your spouse publicly.
Yeah.
You just don't do it. And it used to be commonplace in the West until we've been cucked by feminism.
True.
So, you can, by the way, guys, if I were to give any advice, relationship advice, if there is a woman that's willing to bash you or insult you, unless you have that kind of dynamic with your girlfriend where it's like it's okay to rib each other a little bit, but if they do it in public in front of people, coworkers, family members, and things like that, again, unless you have a family that is like that's what you do, if she does that to you and you correct her and she doesn't take it well, run. Because she's not going to take it well in any other instance. She's never going to accept correction on any other thing. She should never, a foul word should never come about. You shouldn't be talking foul about your spouse either. Listen, does my wife have moments where my wife can be PMSing and be a bit of a bee sometimes? Absolutely, like any woman. Would you ever imagine me like just going to like the bar and just complaining about my wife and talking like smack about her? Could you imagine me doing that? That's insane to me. And yet he allowed that to happen on podcast. I don't know how Trent ever recovered from it. I don't think he ever has, frankly, because clearly he hasn't, because he has a stick up his rear end over the smallest infractions. It was on Pints with Aquinas. His wife was on. She basically just embarrassed him in front of millions of people who watched that. It was absolutely like crazy.
Is that
Have
the
you
one
guys
where
ever
she
saw that?
talked? Is that the one where she talks about her coworker?
Oh, she talks about how she's attracted to other coworkers and other things like that. It's like, bro, what? I don't think I have never talked about like being tempted by another woman ever. Even if I was, I would never do that.
That must be a Roman Catholic thing, because I see the same thing Candace is doing, like with all of her streams lately, where she's talking about how she had dreams about Charlie Kirk and how she's,
oh gosh, so weird.
how they
dude.
were soul tied or whatever. It's like, wow, I'm seeing a trend here.
Dude, you wonder why she was. So, dude, she came out. She hates Erica. You could just tell she hates Erica.
Yeah.
Dude, absolutely. She's like, no, Charlie was mine and you stole him from me. like that. That's the energy I'm getting from Candace. She's unhinged, guys. Like, yeah, but you're right. Candace is like, go ahead.
Well, she took a cheap shot at orthodoxy the other day.
Really?
Oh, did she? Where?
Yeah, not at the end of her show. Like, no, it was a part of her show at the end. I think she said, "You're not gonna find it, but." You have to watch a few. I think it was the last week, and she said, "If you want to know how not to become Orthodox, go talk to a Catholic priest." I'm like, "All right, bro."
Oh well, yeah. And by the way,
so she's aware of us.
No, she is, of course.
That's unironically good advice, though. Like, she might be trying to take a shot, but like, I would have been more mad if she's trying to give
is she allied with this weirdo Ian Carroll?
Yes, it's been like for over a year now.
Well, no, I know they've been like ribbing off each other, but does he have a show with her now? Because he's like posting.
No, not a permanent show. For a while, she was out. That's why that guy took over. You look at the comments on all her videos. It's goofy.
Coming soon, dude. Just like you just know that she just hates Erica. It's the funniest thing I've ever seen. Oh my lord. But if I did that to my like I can't imagine if I had a podcast of her size and I was embarrassing my husband like that regularly. Could you, dude? If my wife did that, that would be like. Oh, I couldn't even imagine.
Gotta grab her by the arm. Joking.
Nah, I'm not gonna say it, but I'm gonna say it. That's all I'm gonna say, guys. I'd never tolerate that. Thank you, Mr. Piss, for the free gifted. But anyways, guys, and by the way, I'm one of those guys that came out saying like, guys, we need to chill out about like the whole like, with like bashing women all the time. Like I came out publicly and said like we need to chill out with the incel like constantly like freaking out about women on the internet because it's just not a good look. And but even I wouldn't tolerate that bullshit. Like not in a million years. So anyways, that is Trent Horn. That is the stuff that was going on there. I did want to get to so Trent's video here because I think he posted it.
Has become guilty of all of it. Doesn't that mean that there is no such thing as a difference between mortal and
hypocrisy. Oh man, so he hasn't posted about that. So Trent Horn, maybe. So I was trying to find because Cleve posted this March 24th, and he responds to Andrew. And he says, I didn't condemn potty words. For example, it's not a big deal to praise the F in a, but dude, I can't read it when you do this kind of stuff. F and A, but FU, it's almost always communicate from a sinful anger and kind of wrath is incompatible with the Christian life. Andrew says, I've been pretty measured in my responses, Trent, but I see you won't stop coming until I put a lot of these criticisms to bed. Not like talking to you is possible since you refuse to discuss any of the accusations you make with the accused. And then Trent responds, won't stop coming, Andrew. I barely mentioned you in the episode. It doesn't matter. The episode is when you mention two people, you frame it around the entire thing. Hey, these two people are examples. Now I'm going to proceed to explain throughout the whole episode why these two people are problematic. Doesn't matter if you mention them once. They're like I think Counterdox is right. I think Trent's just stupid. I think he just might be stupid.
I know you didn't mean that as a joke, but I found that hilarious.
And there's Jay with the hilarious responses.
Hey, where's your vids calling out Voice of Reason? Yeah, and Voice of Reason was huge, by the way. Like, actually huge. Like, he had a ton of following. Bigger than Trent, I would argue, at his peak. No, crickets from Trent. And then anyways, he says, I don't care. Questhoff goes on huge podcasts and I don't attack his approach because he engages with others in a Christ-like manner. I actually, believe it or not, I think Wes Huff is just as bad as Trent Horn. The difference is that Wes Huff doesn't have as many bad experiences with certain individuals, so he doesn't call them out by name. But Wes Huff is, in my opinion, very, very duplicitous in the way that he engages too.
But he's smarter than Trent. You know he's smarter because you know. Remember that time he got refuted really bad and embarrassed himself on the canon issue, and the way he wiggled himself out of that was kind of smart. But yeah, he knows when to cut it, but Trent doesn't.
Yeah. I think he has a lot. He's more temperate, and he has a lot more temperance, and he knows when to pull back. He knows when he's in a bad situation, in a bad position. This is why, like, he won't talk and bash orthodoxy unless he's like in a Q&A with a Calvinist saying, oh, there's a lot of people converting to orthodoxy. I don't know if you guys remember seeing that video, but Wes Huff is basically like, oh, there's a lot of people converting. And then he just basically goes on a tirade attacking works salvation and says, but that doesn't mean that I don't believe some of them are saved. I just think that if you believe this to its logical conclusion, that you're probably not. It's like, okay, dude, that's like saying the same thing out of both sides of your mouth, you know?
That's just always very important to them, like whether they believe somebody else is saved or not. It's like, you know.
Oh yeah, dude. When I was telling when I was coming out of Protestantism, I was telling people I'm converting to Orthodoxy. One of the main things that really got people to crash out was whether or not I believed they were saved. Like, well, you don't believe we're saved? I'm like, what does that matter? That doesn't. What
does my opinion matter at all?
Yeah.
I don't decide that.
Wes Huff and Gavin Ortland, Wes Huff. Gavin Ortland actually is smarter than Trent also, because Gavin actually learned his lesson. He engaged with us a little bit and realized he's totally out of his league, and he scaled back. So he's smart enough to just like pull back when he needs to, right? So, but anyway, so he goes on and says, Christ-like manner while still being masculine. Oh, that's because Wes Huff lifts weight. That must mean he's masculine, I guess. I intend to go on in many big podcasts as possible to show even degenerates can be charitably evangelized. Though my travel will be very limited while my wife recovers from brain surgery and cancer treatment. So again, why is that even relevant? It feels like he's using that as like a shield. Am I wrong for that? Like, no, I don't go around. I don't go around saying, "Well, I'm really limited because my father-in-law has cancer," which he does. And it's like I don't go around doing that bullshit. When my wife, guys, I don't know if a lot of you guys don't know this. My wife was ill, like serious illness for years. We weren't able to have more kids. People always say, "Why don't you have more kids?" We couldn't have kids because my wife was that sick for a long time. She's better now, thank glory to God. But she was sick. You see me going around being like, you can't attack me because my wife's sick, right? Or I have an excuse because my wife's sick. No, it's no excuse, dude. It's the internet. You set up a live stream. You could literally can stream from anywhere nowadays. Most podcasts will let you call in. It's like totally unhinged. But I want to finish this real quick before we get any more thoughts. So I will be spending my time engaging important issues on those venues, not arguing innatities. I don't know how to pronounce that right now. Inanities, whatever. With you guys. Finally, Jay, good on you for growing up a little and unblocking me. Shows there's hope for everyone. Wow. See, that is far nastier and like smug and femmy, like in the bad way, femmy, than anything I could. Like, what is your guys' thoughts right there?
Yes, that is a feminine trait. It's a backhanded compliment.
Just to, go out of your way to just throw that in at the end of your self-aggrandizing, butt-kissing post is just, the
Counterdocs,
demons,
any
the
thoughts?
demons applaud, dude.
It's very
The demons
standard
applaud.
Catholic to me.
Gosh, I love this guy. This is why I love you, Counter. This is
look,
why we're mutes.
This is the remember the voice of reason years, and he goes like, "Oh, I am actually more Orthodox Christian than Orthodox Christians because in the first millennium, Orthodox Christians are in communion with the Pope. I am in communion with the Pope."
It's a great impression.
I can't do a deep voice like that because my voice just goes. I can do it, Alex Jones. That's about the best I can do. All right, folks, we're gonna go find the Illuminati. They're there. The globalists are after us. The papists. They are bought by the Jews in Israel.
From my psychological analyzation of the papists, it's usually they think they have a gotcha. It's like, oh, dude, submit to Pope or filioque, bro, or some stuff like that. And then once you engage in any sort of intellectual breakdown, it's just they just panic because they don't know anything beyond the pop apologetic stuff. And from there, usually, some of us make mistakes. We get too angry. It's like, how do you not get this? And then we get a little bit aggressive. So, oh, that's not Christ-like, man.
Oh yeah, it's always like that. Yeah.
It's usually that rubric, or it's either that, or they get even nastier than you.
Well, I had a
30-minute conversation with Talon, the 15-year-old who is not even a baptized, and so he jumps into my stream and I talk to him a little bit, and he wants to debate like these niche issues. I'm like, dude, I don't want to debate that. I want to debate your current papacy. And then he's just like, oh, you brought up, what did I bring up? I brought up Chieti. I said, I just mentioned Chieti in passing. He's like, oh, you brought up Chieti? That's a joke. You're a joke. And as if you claim a argument is a joke enough, you're actually debunking it. You're not actually debunking the argument by just saying it's a joke. Right?
In my experience, when people say something like that, is because they just heard someone else say that.
All right. So hey, Juan, sorry, Ro. We got a ankle biter in the chat. Listen, bro, you're welcome to jump into chat and explain to us how what your glorious standards are, and explain to us how they can be consistently applied. And we can give you dozens of examples of church fathers, saints, and even Christ who insult people far more than you, and we have in this stream. So how about this? You actually give us an example, make an argument, but this smarmy little backbiting and this ankle biting won't be tolerated in my chat. So that's your first and final warning. Make an argument, join the call. You can make an argument in the chat if you can't join the call, or join the call. But I'm not gonna do this this ankle biting femmy bullshit. Okay.
Hey, Nikolai.
Here. I'll be nasty like Trent Horn. Don't act like a 12-year-old. Jump in the chat and be like a man. How do you feel? Does that make you feel good? Or would you rather me just say stop being a little bitch and join the chat? Which one is more? Which one's more honest?
Do you want me to talk to you like a kindergarten teacher?
Yeah, exactly.
No. Are you talking about the Talon who debated Bryce?
Yes, the same.
Oh, that guy's insufferable.
Well, he's 15, dude.
He said, God forbid Christians have standards, and all I could picture is the meme. This is the German three.
Oh.
Yeah.
Christians.
Was
Okay.
it though?
So, anyways, let's continue here. Andrew Wilson responds and says, disingenuous. You mentioned my name at the beginning and kept referencing people like these. To the onlooker, the appearance is Andrew is people like these. The reason I'm cautious with my words about fellow Christians in this space is because I know how much influence they can have. Never get the same courtesy back. So I will make a video response since talking is always out of the question with you. You wouldn't want to roll around with the pigs after all. All of this could have been avoided if you just followed the proper procedure of how you're supposed to correct a brother. By the way, he keeps on, and this is an important point. This is something that Andrew just dunks on him about. Notice how Trent constantly says, this is how brothers are supposed to correct each other. We're supposed to admonish them, blah, blah. What's the proper procedure, dude? What's in Scripture? You go to them privately.
True.
Well, in Trent's case, the words of the Lord ring true, right? Do what he says, but don't do what he does.
Oh, that's funny. Wes Jay says Wes Huff isn't making mass converts. We are. Debate your geopolitically compromised papacy, coward. Jay is never going to let up until at least one Catholic agrees to do a geopolitics debate, but I just don't think he's ever going to, because I'm going to be honest. I don't think any Catholic can win that debate.
Nick, that's kill shot. They're
too busy masonry maxing.
And it would be suicide.
Like I'm under the Serbians. Sorry, I'm under the Serbians. Like the stuff that the papacy did to the Serbians are just like what the Ustaše did to the Serbians with the blessings of the Pope. And Aloysius, who is now a saint in the Roman Catholic Church, who blessed genocide against Orthodox Christians, is like, we're never gonna deal with that.
People are like, oh, we're gonna reunite with Rome. Really? How are we gonna reconcile all those saints?
Yeah, I mean, you can go to my church and see if any Serbian wants to venerate Aloysius. And I don't know if you knew, Nikolai, that Pope. I think it was. I call him Pope Blow the Heck Up. But I think it's Pius XII or something. And the Pope that met all who were working with the N-words and the Ustaše, during his funeral, he actually blew up. His body blew up. And it went green, and it's all disgusting. And it smelled so bad, like the guards who were guarding his body, they pretty much fainted. And then they had to keep like wrapping him so he doesn't blow up anymore. And it got so bad to a point where his nose were getting blown off, and they finally put him in the tomb, and they stopped the public displays. It's like these people.
Well, there's two things that I want to mention with that. One, there's a reason that the Catholics have to basically wax every single one of their departed saints and popes. They're preserving the body as long as possible. Yeah. Notice how the relics and the saints, the bodies of their saints, never look the same as the saints of our church.
Let me look up a picture, actually. I've never really paid attention to it.
Patriarch Ilya, who just passed away, he had been dead at this point for several days. His body on display for all those pieces. Anyone who's dealt with dead bodies, anyone who's been around them, whether it's an animal or a human, they go bad very fast. They don't stay good very long. They start smelling pretty rank pretty quickly. And I can tell you this much. Millions of people walking through and venerating the body of Patriarch Ilya wouldn't happen with a regular body. That is true incorruptible relics. In my opinion, he's going to be recognized as saint within our lifetime, probably within the next 5 to 10 years, if not sooner.
Man, I'm looking at some photos right now. It's actually disturbing how they're waxing the face of the saints.
Yeah. There is and also, how are we going to reconcile their histrionic female saints who have like visions of Christ's circumcised finger, like circumcised skin on their finger, and carving Christ's name into their breasts, and there's all sorts of other.
There's the worst one, I think. Who was it? It was Bernard. I think it was Saint Bernard.
Yeah, drinking breast
Drinking the milk
of the
Lord
Theotokos.
of mercy.
Yeah, I mean, any monk in our church that does that is done.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that would never be tolerated, ever be tolerated. Yes, it was Pace. Someone says here, Gabriel says it was Pope. It was Pius, whatever.
Pius
I
12,
can't.
pretty sure.
Yeah, 12. That's 12. That's correct. Whose body exploded. Swiss guards had to change every 50 minutes because of the stench. Yeah.
You know what his guys did to the Serbians? Like, they massacred them in churches, and they forced them to convert to Catholicism. And here's what they did. They said, okay, well, we'll baptize you, and we'll kill you immediately after your baptism, because we already got your soul. We don't really need your body. That's what they did to genocide the Serbians.
Oh yeah, well, what happened? What happened with the Serbians have been brutalized for a long time, and this is part of the reason why Serbia is as based as it is. But actually, the Serbian jurisdiction is actually doing a really good job, despite its size, it not being a huge jurisdiction. They're doing a really good job with their converts. I heard that they're growing fairly steadily, especially in Australia. They're actually one of the largest jurisdictions in Australia. So
I'm actually in contact with my bishop, and we're trying to get more of our priests to be visible online, because there's a lot of good things about like the Serbian church that we feel like it's like the only person we have out there is Father Turtle Quills, and
Father Deacon Ananias is Serbian.
No, he's my god brother, and he's Romanian. Is he? He's trying to come to the Serbians, but he's having some stuff going on right now.
Oh, okay. Because I know Bishop Maxim is the one that I've heard he's phenomenal, by the way.
He's great.
But yeah, it's great. It's great stuff. And again, it's like roll core. I mean, really, I think the top jurisdictions, this is just my opinion, in terms of outreach to people, and in terms of quality of a parish, that you if you go to this parish, you know you're probably going to get a decent parish in terms of quality. I would say number one is probably either Rokor, the Serbians, probably tied at 1. The Romanians, Antioch, OCA, in that order.
What about the other one?
People get shocked. What about the Greeks? The Greeks. I would say the Greeks are really hit or miss, and I don't say that to bash them. It's just there's a lot of Greek priests that are just kind of like, this is what my family's always done. I'm a priest. My dad was a priest, and it's like a vocation, which is less of and there are some great. Like Father Ron, he's under the Greeks, right? He's phenomenal. Father Ron is a great clergy. Father, oh gosh, what's his name?
Paul Trubenbach.
Well, he's one. Well, no, he's under Antioch.
He's under Antiochian.
Oh man, who was it? It was no, he's like he's a former Pentecostal, and he has a pretty big parish in South Carolina, I believe. It's a parish.
Oh.
Moses V. What's up, brother? How are you doing?
Dude, sick beard.
Hey, bro. Hey, I just wanted... Yo, man.
Dude, he's beard mogging all of us. This isn't even cool. Like, all right, he's going to the top. He's going to the top. There we go.
Hey, there was this video release. I just wanted to see if any of you watched it. It's from a guy named Leo Fellis. I'll post it here in the chat real quick.
Yeah,
it was the most absurd thing I've ever seen. It's like this atheist kid, basically for an hour straight, talking shit about Jay Dyer and how stupid he is. Yeah, oh my god. If you haven't seen this, Nick, you gotta watch this. It's so stupid. You'll laugh your butt off the whole time.
Okay, let's see.
So stupid.
Jay Dyer is a name I keep seeing crop up in Slopololid. That's a horrible. That's not a good. Like, no. There's always words that you just can't combine. That just is way too difficult to say.
Well, listen to him talk about it too.
This is the guy who debated Jim Bob a while ago.
I don't remember that. If he did, I don't think so.
I know.
Is
it's
this
not
guy
him.
But it's worth-
atheist?
Yeah,
Yes.
and it's worth at least a few minutes of your time. It'll make you laugh. Anyways, I got to get to bed though, guys. I love what you do.
Okay. Well,
I'll see you later.
thanks. I probably do a video and a live stream on it another time because I'm
Worth
actually
it.
gonna have to. I gotta have to get going. But it's definitely good to have some more content to do because because I've been struggling. I actually posted a video. It's like I can't find anything anymore. Like the eight. You know, it's like this is what's so funny is that I think we've like Orthodoxy's done such a thorough job of just like crushing it that I just don't think there's much left for these people to cling on to, you know?
Yeah.
Well, this will be a good starting spot. I'm not gonna lie. You could probably make 2 or 3 videos out of this crap shoot right
I might
here.
have to do like a part 1, 2, and 3 or something like that, because then I'll be able to respond to that. But that being said, guys, last thoughts on Trent Horn before I wrap up the stream. And Moses, you're welcome to give your thoughts real quick first if you have to get going.
Oh, dude, I do not like him at all. I think he's bought and paid for. But I'll leave the rest to you guys. Straight up. Have a good night.
That's enough. That's all we needed. God bless you. Ro, why don't you go next?
Yeah, dude. Trent and his ilk, they're total squabs.
What?
I agree with Moses. They're bought and paid for. A squab is a baby pigeon. So.
Nice.
Yeah, they're jokes. I mean, I think honestly, Trent has crossed the threshold. He's now in locale territory. He's just content to be made fun of.
Yeah, he's become locale. All right, brother. Thanks, Ro, for your thoughts. God bless you.
You guys.
God bless you.
All right, Matheos, you were the first in, so I'll give you a word here now.
Hey, I appreciate you having me on. I think that this is like the common death prattle for a lot of people whose arguments are losing, and they just go into piety signaling and like emotional appeals. I think they know that the whatever is crumbling around them, and it's just like they have nothing left.
Yeah.
Well,
All right, brother. We'll talk to you later.
thank y'all. God bless.
Thanks for jumping in. It's appreciated. Counterdocs. Good to finally see you put a face to the name.
Yeah, I mean, regarding Trent, I don't think he's that bad of a person. I just don't think he's that smart. He has practically negative EQ. Does not know how to. I just don't think he really knows how to deal with people, how to build relationships.
That could be, yeah.
And his argumentations. I'm sorry, I've watched every single one of his debates. I mean, most of his argumentations are just, I don't know. It does not deserve what he has, and unfortunately, it's not him, because if you look at the usual Catholics and their EQ and IQs, it usually matches somewhere there. I'm not trying to be insulting, and it's unfortunately the Protestants are the same way, and it reflects to you the state of this country, and it's unfortunate.
People always wonder why I tend to stay out here in Korea. People are always wondering, why is Nikolai always in Korea? Well, because honestly, the people here are much more tolerable. And it's at least safe and all these other things. I mean, there's all kinds of reasons why I'm out here, but
you don't think Koreans are mean?
No, not at all. They're nice people. Okay. No, I mean, let me put it this way. They're mean insofar that they don't disguise their disdain for something, and but for me, I like that. That's honest to me. Like, oh gosh, that's great. But some people that are sensitive, they get like, that's why all these like libtards come out to Korea and they're like, I thought the Koreans were liberal and like progressive, and
you're like, no, that's like.
Well, yeah, but even Japan's like, they go to Japan and they start bitching about it. They're like, this place is horrible. They're so racist. I'm like, no, they just literally just say exactly what's on their mind. Listen, some of them don't like me as a white guy, and they'll just tell me, and I'll get along with them fine. They're like, I don't like that you're a white guy in Korea. I'm like, oh, cool. So that's fine. Doesn't hurt, no skin off my back. Most of them aren't like that though. Most are very pleasant. Again, they're pleasant people. They're good people. They don't like mask themselves. They're very forthright with you. And that's something that I appreciate. In America, it's like this constant dance of like politics and bullshit like that. It's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah,
it's
I was kind of raised that way. It's blunt. So when I moved back here, it's like everybody thinks I'm mean. I'm like, okay, well, I don't know.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you know, brother, next time you come out to the States, you'll have to, or to Korea, you'll have to message me, and we'll find you a based Korean Orthodox waifu. All right.
You know what's funny is my mom, she hates Koreans, and
oh really?
Yeah, when she found out she was 17% Korean, like she lost her shit. Excuse my language. she didn't want to accept that.
But listen, my wife, see, that's funny because my wife found out that my daughter has like a certain percentage like Chinese, and she's like, she is not Chinese, like just lost her mind. And then she finds out there's a little bit of Japanese too, and she's like, she is not Japanese. She's like, we are full-blooded Koreans. And the thing is, you ask them about it, it's always funny. But no, Koreans tend to be pretty chill again, and actually that's true with most Asians. Each Asian group in Asia has their own like part that I like, and then there's like an aspect where I'm like, I prefer the other Asian over that. Yeah. Like Japanese, I think their politeness goes too far. Like everyone's like, oh, Japan, they're so honorable, they're so polite. It's like, dude, they won't look you in the eye. Like with Koreans, they'll look you dead in the eye. Like they don't care, right? Like they're very upfront and forthright people, which I like. But with the Japanese, I tend to like their tolerance for public nuisance a little bit more. I think they're a little bit more tolerable on certain things when it comes to that.
Yeah, I personally relate more to Koreans because I grew up with a lot of Koreans.
Yeah,
and it's pretty
and
much.
you're
well, I'm a mixture. So I'm Manchurian, which has really, really bad blood with Koreans, and I'm also Tibetan. And
even though you're actually related more closely to Koreans than you are with, a lot of other groups. So
so I'm like Chinese, Korean, Manchurian, and Tibetan, and a little bit of Persian. So
you're a mutt. You're a mutt. you're the Asian equivalent of a European mutt.
Yeah, I mean that region up there in northeastern China, it's like that. Everybody is weird mix. And my cousins are Kazakhs. Like you can see the nose is just.
Dude, we have this gal. She is Korean, but she grew up in Uzbekistan, and that's because a lot of Koreans had to run off there. So
yeah.
But yeah. Anyways, brother.
Okay,
God
really?
bless you.
Hold on. Look at this guy. Look at this piece of shit in chat.
Who?
Look at the StreamYard chat.
Oh, the StreamYard?
Yeah. Do you see what he just said in the chat?
Yeah, dude, you're just trying to get me banned.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's not coming out, so. Okay, buddy.
Bye. All right. Hey, Counterdocs. Have a wonderful day.
All right, you too, man.
God bless you. Jump on again sometime. And also, again, if any of you guys in the chat, if any of you find me in Korea, you find yourselves coming to Korea, come visit. I love to have a beer with you. I like beer. It's Lent friendly too. And you guys are all great. You're all a blessing. Thank you to everyone who was very, very kind to me and generous today. We got a bunch of super chats and some memberships. That was awesome. You guys were way more generous than usual, and it's much appreciated. Again, if you want to support me in other ways, you can go down in the description below of any of my videos. I have a PayPal link. It will go, any of the PayPal money goes directly to my father-in-law with his cancer stuff. Please, again, I want to remind everyone, pray for my my father-in-law. We find out today, as in Korea time today, about his cancer diagnosis, if it's reducing or increasing. So it's like share this, pray for him. Anything that you can donate in the description below is very much of any of my videos. The PayPal is in any of my videos. So God bless you guys. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys real soon.